Hey, welcome to UltraChenTV. My name is Ultra David.
And I am James Chen. This is the first episode of Season 2.
Yeah, this is officially Season 2. We had Season 1, but that's in the past. That's in 2012. Now, if you'll follow me, we go to 2. And that'll run this whole year. That's how it works. Welcome to UltraChenTV. This is the Tuesday show. We normally start things off on Mondays each week, but that's not the case this week. We are going to be doing totally regular shows coming next week, getting back to business.
Yeah.
But for this week, we wanted to make it on Tuesday because, obviously, major announcements.
Yes, we just heard on Wake Up SRK. I hope you guys are all listening to that. Mr. Wizard was the special guest and announced the official lineup for Evolution 2013. And it was, I'm shocked.
I was blown away, personally. I don't know about other people, but I actually, so I posted up what I thought were going to be the games, right? My guesses were everybody's guesses were Street Fighter 4, Ultimate Marvel 3, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. 100% of everybody had those three. If you didn't, you're a moron.
Right.
Those were clear. I think everything else other than that was up in the air. And I thought, knowing that last year that there were however many thousands of people there, and knowing that things ran late, I expected that there would be fewer games, because I expect more people per game even this year than last year. So I was looking for 4 games, and I thought it was going to be P4A was the last one.
Four games?
I said 4 games.
So not even KOF after how well KOF did last year.
That was, I felt like that was the question. Was it P4A or KOF?
Gotcha.
And I don't know. Clearly that was wrong.
Right, so if you guys didn't get a chance to listen to Wake Up SRK, the games that were officially announced, let's just rattle them off.
Rattle them off, sure.
So we have, obviously, like you said, AE 2012, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and then we have Mortal Kombat 9 for its 3rd year in a row.
Yep.
And then we're going to have Street Fighter Cross Tekken version 2013. And singles, right?
Singles.
Yeah, so no team tournament
right,
this
it was
time.
team tournament last year, if you recall.
Exactly, so Mike Ross might be able to play on stage this year. King of Fighters 13 is going to be there. Then, of course, Persona 4, which was the surprise 7th game announcement. And then even more surprising is that there was an 8th game announcement, and that the 8th game is going to be voter's choice.
Yeah, it's a player's choice game. We'll get into what all of the options are, but just to lay it out there, this is going to be selected based on how many donations get received in the name of each game to a breast cancer fund. And the list of games is up on shoryuken.com, and it's we'll go through it in a bit, but these are games that have already received votes from previous voting earlier, I guess in 2012. So yeah, I think it's just to go back through the games now. No surprise that Street Fighter 4, Marvel 3, and Tekken Tag get there.
Right.
Street Fighter 4 continues, or at least has continued, to have the most entrants at most tournaments. It continues to be the most popular.
Well, Marvel...
Right, I was going to say, but as far as stream watching goes and people who spectate, it seems like Marvel is the most popular. So I think that those 2 games were super locks, because they bring in the most people in both the butts and the hands playing and the eyeballs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, they're by far the most popular for viewers. People love watching those 2 games.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be kind of cool. AE is probably going to be coming back with 2012. If you recall, Infiltration won it last year, and this would be the first time that Street Fighter 4 has the same version as the year before.
Which is fine, because, I know, okay, so there's a lot of contention. You and I are big proponents of 2012 being very balanced.
Indeed.
And the more and more we say this, the more I get people coming up to me and saying that we are full of crap.
Fact. All the time.
That we are completely wrong on this statement, and that it's getting a little bit more stretched out now.
Right.
And, given the events of the 25th anniversary tournament, I think it's very easy to argue both directions. And
yeah,
it's just, but then the Canada Cup happened right before that, and Gen won, right? So, what?
I don't know, but I thought it was really interesting that Mr. Wizard, who was releasing things and is obviously affiliated with Evo, seemed to kind of intimate that there might be potential for Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2013. I don't know, like that.
Dude, I don't even know why they would do that. Like, the game is fine.
I mean, we're just saying that we feel like it's pretty balanced. I'm not
Right,
sure
right.
what the reason would be, but
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
obviously they need. I mean, if they do come out with it, it would be great to address certain things,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, trying to buff Cammy up because she's
Oh,
obviously
okay.
low
All right.
tier,
Yeah, all right.
right?
Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly.
But seriously, it's always interesting to check out a new game. Like I said, it's been a new version of SF4 each time at Evo so far, so there would be that tradition kept up. It's always cool to check out new things, and yeah, it's not a perfectly balanced game. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
for
sit
sure.
here and tell you that T-Hawk wins most of his matches.
Right.
He doesn't. I know that. So it'd be nice. It seems so weird to me that.
Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, let's face it. We come from a generation where we played games where when roll canceling was discovered, we sucked it up and just said go. When Ganajin got too good, when Chun-Li remained as good because she was good pretty much from the get-go, we just sucked it up, right? Yeah. But let's face it, you know, a lot of old school people are always like, let's not change the game. You guys suck. You guys just want patches all day. Today is the age of patches. Dude, real sports get patched. How often do rules get changed, right?
I mean, that's true.
Even if it's just minor changes, it's still changing, right? I mean, the defensive schemes in basketball, much better than they were before, so they had to put in all these hand-checking rules and stuff like that to try to up the scores, because otherwise, there was one year in basketball where we had games that legitimately ended like 52 to like 56. Like, the score, it was just bad.
That sounds way more interesting to me, but go on.
Okay, Dawson player.
You mean hockey player? Because
yeah.
certainly hockey is known for changing things up pretty drastically from year to year.
See, exactly, and hockey's another one.
NHL, at least.
They got rid of a lot of rules to increase the score.
Yeah, they did.
Right, and so, you know, rules change all the time. So to be honest with you, if they kept patching every game, so there was a 2013, 2014...
Yeah, I guess.
I wouldn't be mad, so... You hear that, Capcom? Please patch Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. We need some fixes to that game right now.
For real, like, which one of these games needs the changes? It's Street Fighter 4? It's not Marvel 3?
Dude, oh man, like, everyone knows how much I love Marvel. I love Marvel even though I'm terrible at the game,
and I've grown to love Marvel in, like, just the last 3 months, so...
And honestly, like, I feel like it's just... like a version 2013 away from just being the most amazing game ever. Yeah. And I mean, legitimately, there are definite, like, TAC stuff is retarded,
dumb.
You know, well, it's really dumb, sorry. But, you know, there's just, like, so many, like, bad things about this game that need to be tweaked. And to be honest with you, like, if they just fix it up, I feel like it would be the, like, you could get rid of a lot of the big elephants in the room. You know what I mean? Like the stupid X Factor kind of things like that. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
So speaking of Marvel, that's the next game. So I guess sounds like there's at least Mr. Wizard didn't imply that there could be a 2013. I don't know if he even knows stuff, but
right.
Filipino Champ is gonna have a chance to defend it. If you recall, last year was Ultimate. The year before that was Vanilla, which Viscant won. So this is going to be the first time that there's going to be a chance in Marvel 3 to actually repeat, because it was a different game when Viscant won it.
Right.
So.
And a lot of people probably underestimate how cool a repeat is. What Perfect Legend did 2 years in a row for Mortal Kombat 9, winning last year and the year before that says a lot. And if Filipino Champ can come in and win again, you know, or, you know, just, it creates a lot of stories. You know what I mean? There's so many more stories, so it's really awesome. I mean, how many of us are excited to, you know, hopefully see a Bala versus Mad KOF, you know, rematch in Grand Finals, or even at least in Top 8, just to see them rematch against each other, right? I mean, let's just face it, like, when, a lot of the games are coming back, some people may think it's kind of boring, but to me, like, I think the games that we're playing right now are also good because KOF also amazingly balanced game, right? You know, I mean, it is. It's a balanced. You see a lot of character variety in any case, but all right, fine.
Go on.
But you know, we're playing a lot of great games, and to me, them coming back is an indication how strong they are and it produces a lot of good stories for us. So I'm super excited about that.
I think it's awesome that those games get to come back. Yeah, I totally agree, because I think it's always cool to get those stories. I think it'd be crazy and awesome if Filipino Champ could repeat in a game like Marvel that has always had this rap as being random, even though as the game has progressed, it's become much more of an intelligent game.
Right.
That would be awesome to see. But I think it's going to be real cool to see how well those games do. I'm looking forward to checking that out. In terms of how many people play, the viewers are going to be crazy in any case.
Yeah.
I would imagine. It's been close to 100K for the last 2 years
Right.
at Evo concurrent, so I don't think that's going to change. Probably go up. But how many people are still going to enter the games that are coming back, like AE and Marvel 3 and MK9 and KOF?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at trends for games like MVC2 and CVS2 back during the 2000s, the games would get, as the talent got better, the turnout actually shrunk. And so you remember, like, all the Super Turbo tournaments, they were just like, every bracket was like killer, 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 killer,
Yeah.
killer, killer, because you just, all the people who, the people who got better only got better.
Yeah, and the people who
Couldn't keep
stopped,
up.
yeah, they stopped playing. The people who
Right.
can keep up stopped playing over time.
Right,
So,
so-
narrowed it down. You're right.
It's curious to see if that's going to happen with Marvel or if there's going to be more players. You know, that's going to be a very telling stat, but it's really hard to say because during the 2000s, our fan base was not growing.
Sure, yeah. I mean, at the same time as that happened, as ST and other games were winnowed down like that, that was happening in the scene in general. It wasn't
Right.
just in those games,
Right.
right? Like, the scene was shrinking.
Yeah.
So now that it's growing, you know, I would look for there to be still at least whatever it was last time. Was it like 1,500 or something
Yeah,
entrants, or close to 2,000 for Street Fighter 4s? I forget what it was.
Yeah.
It was something like that. I would look for it to be at least about the same, if not more.
Right. Well, do you want to take a quick break real quick? And we'll be right back, and we'll keep talking about more of the games that are in the lineup. So stick around, guys.
All right, hey, welcome back to the Tuesday show on UltraChenTV. We're talking about the announcement that was made on Wake Up S Arcade just before we came on about which games are going to be at Evolution 2013. We just talked about Street Fighter 4 and Ultimate Marvel 3 and a little bit about some of the other games. But now let's go on to Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
Right, which was the third obvious choice that's going to be there. Tekken has been a staple at Evo for years. I mean, the only times that we haven't run it is when the current version wasn't out on a console.
Right,
You know,
right.
that's pretty much the only time Tekken does not make Evo.
Right. For example, last year it was there was a Tekken Tag Tournament 2, but it wasn't on console, and at the
Right.
same time, Soul Calibur 5 had just come out.
Yeah, that's true too.
So there was
That's true,
there was
too.
still a Namco fighter in
Yeah,
there.
but Tekken has been there so many years,
Mm-hmm.
and so, you know, I'm not shocked to see it back, and I think it's, you know, especially with Tekken being in MLG now, right? I imagine there's going to be a lot of people playing that game. So, you know, I hope a lot of people show up to Evo to play that, and I expect it to be, you know, like I said, we started learning Tekken Tag 2, right? I've never really played Tekken, never
me too.
understood it. And I like Tekken Tag 2. I can watch Tekken Tag 2. You know what I mean? It's just like this. It's now that I understand the system.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, I'm. That's basically what it is. Now that I have knowledge of the game, I
I'm
can
the same
watch
way.
it. And like I said, you know, with a lot of the extra systems they put in there, I just like the fact that the game, you know, that there's these little subplots in the game and stuff like that. I think it adds a lot to the viewership for this game. And I know, like at Wednesday Night Fights, Tekken has been really popular on that stream. A lot of times when they switch to AE, a lot of people are like, "Go back to Tekken." So
true.
you know, so I hope Tekken, you know, does really well at Evo.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the pillars of the fighting game community in North America. Like it always has been ever
Yeah.
since it's been out. It was weird to me that towards the end of the last game of Six's life that it was kind of falling off. That seems strange to me because I remember one instance where we were talking about games on this show that we thought like were in need of like some publicity,
Right.
and we didn't mention Tekken because we both thought that Tekken was one of the main games. Like,
Yeah,
why would we need to even talk about
That's
this
right.
game?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's true that during the end of 6, it was not it had fallen off. So it's awesome to me that Tag 2 is out. It's cool to see that it's been doing okay on streams and getting good entrants.
Yeah, and actually, we should probably mention that the Tekken community is doing that special tournament that's going along the East Coast. Like ECT is part of that. Like there's like a Tekken series that's going through. I think Final Round might be the first tournament that has it. If people know what the name of it is, I forgot what it was called, but there was a bunch of, like, they're going to run Tekken in a bunch of East Coast tournaments, part of, like, this Tekken, almost like a season.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I mean, definitely some of those places are, like, the hearts of competitive Tekken. Final Round is always awesome for Tekken. Even, You know, so, yeah, that'll be cool to see. That's going to be a good game. It's got a great international contingent. I'm sure there'll be people from East Asia come out, especially Koreans.
Yeah, I mean
that'll be awesome.
I see a lot of people saying on the chat that they don't think anyone's gonna beat the Koreans. So
they're probably right.
Yeah,
but
I mean Koreans. Koreans. It's unfair to say Koreans have been dominating fighting games. It's literally like 2-3 people.
It's basically in Tekken and then Infiltration.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Like that's other than that.
And Mad KOF. Right. So Mad KOF kind of snuck in there, but they're not necessarily dominating. But their best players are so good at the games they play that it's hard to bet against them. And see, this is a great story going into Evo. Now that Tekken's in there.
Yeah.
Is Tekken, KOF, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, are all these games going to be taken by Korean players?
Maybe. I mean, that's not a bad bet.
That is
not.
Is an extreme possibility now that I think about it.
For sure.
Kind of scary, but
for sure. So the next game that was announced was Mortal Kombat 9. As you mentioned, this has already been in for a couple of years. So this is actually the longest lasting current Evo game. The other one, Street Fighter 4, has been in there for a while, but with
Always
different iterations, right? So MK9 has been in there. It's been patched, but it hasn't really been patched that much in the last year and a half. It was mostly in the first 6 months of the game's life, a little bit after that, but it's been mostly the same since then. Yeah. So it's been cool to see that game every time it comes up. I know that the scene for it is really dedicated. It's something that I followed closely when the game was out. Or what was first out, and Evo last year was crazy because, Perfect Legend won it.
Yeah,
and he won the year before, so he's won both times this one has been at Evo. But the crazy thing about last year is that he won Evo without having done very well, or even really attending tournaments between the two Evos.
Yeah, and there had been a lot of drama involving Perfect Legend because a lot of people in the MK community have been calling him out, saying you're not truly a part of that, you don't represent us and everything. And, they basically put bounties on his head on tournaments.
That James MK guy, dude, that made my month.
With the cantaloupe and the wine, dude, the thing was so good. And, dude, I don't know, for those of you who haven't seen it, you guys got to go look for that. I hope it's still on YouTube, but
I'm sure it is.
One take. And he's opening the head of the cantaloupe and taking chunks out and eating it and drinking wine. Dude,
it was amazing.
I still love that video. It's so good.
It was amazing.
It's so good, yeah.
So the other cool thing about that game is that last year it was much more international than the year before.
Oh yeah.
It definitely had a bigger international contingent than people who outside of the MK community I think expected. There were people from Europe who came, people from Latin America who came, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie. I was actually really surprised to see MK9 back in. In fact...
I was too.
When he announced it, he announced it 4th. And as soon as he announced MK9 4th, I was like, oh my god, what game is done?
That's what I thought too. Because like I said, I thought that there were only 4 games.
Right.
So at this point, I'm thinking, can it end without KOF or P4A or Cross? Or I don't know. I mean, obviously it didn't, but... That was the cool order.
Yeah, I know. People who have followed me on Twitter there was a few days ago where I was talking about how Persona was having problems, and that there was probably a pretty decent chance that it might be included in the Evo, not be included in the Evo Live. And so when MK and 9 got announced, I was like, oh no! My heart sank. And then Wizard trolled too, because after 6 games they were like done, blah blah blah, and I was just like. No. And then they announced, obviously, P4A was still in there.
The thing about listening to Wizard talk is that you gotta filter out the troll, because you know it's there. Am I right? Like you know it's there, so you gotta like stay on your toes as to like what's he talking about.
Even after he trolled with the 7th game, then he came out with that 8th game. I was like,
dude,
what the heck was going
on?
I
was driving in my car on the way here, and I had it on like on the radio almost. And when the 7th and 8th ones happened, I just like erupted in laughter. Like I never would have thought. I never would have thought that they would increase the games after having problems with how many people attended last year.
And that's the worst thing too, is because we know Wizard is a troll. When he said the 8th game, I totally did not believe it.
Yeah.
Until they started getting into the details. Like, I thought they were just going to stop at some point. I mean, you remember, Wizard just tweeted it, the Wii Boxing incident, that Evo 2007, they announced the last game they announced the games by putting the pages up on the Evo website. Yeah. And the last game they put up was Wii Boxing. And there's footage of Ski Sonic, like, from Alphaism Radio, back when he was on Alphaism Radio. He was furious. He was just like, man, I'm not going to Evo anymore. He was like so angry. And then the other guys were like, yo, this is a troll. Listen to this. Like, it was the wrong audio and everything. So, of course, Wizard has that potential. So when they announced 8th game, I honestly didn't believe it.
Yeah, I think that's not unreasonable considering the source. But
so
after MK, I think that was when Cross Tekken was announced? Or
yes.
Was it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2013 is going to be released later this month. Mm-hmm. I think the final Tuesday of January, if I recall correctly. And that'll have a bunch of updates. I'm sure you've been seeing that there's media out for that, even today.
Yeah, check Capcom Unity. Combo Fiend obviously joined Capcom. He's putting out videos, narrating them. Very cool. Glad to see him, doing this for the viewers and for the community. And like super hilarious to see him do it, because if you know, like, he wasn't like Akuma's Demon Flip Punch gets this buff. He was like, Akuma's Hyaki Gozan gets blah blah blah. Like, Hyaki Gosho.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you didn't write that one. But yeah, so the game is getting a whole host of changes. Gameplay, system mechanics, characters are getting tweaked. Even some of the graphics are getting tweaked in the gems and the life bar. So it's going to be a pretty significantly different version.
Yeah, again, just like MK9, I was surprised that this was announced.
Me too.
I actually thought Cross Tekken was going to get passed over. Yeah. And so when this got announced, I was positive Persona was done. And I was freaking out about that.
Yeah?
I was freaking about that, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't play Persona, okay? Like, I'm not good at it. I don't know the game very well, but, through that Twitter conversation that I had, it's just a strong understanding of how strong this Persona community is. Probably the strongest an anime community has been since Guilty Gear.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And in fact, at this point in time during Wake Up SRK, I was already just like, this is what I'm going to tweet to people. I'm going to
like condolences or something?
Like damage control, and like, this is what you should do to help your community. Like, I was already like thinking about what I was going to say on the show, like, Persona community, don't worry and everything. And then, I mean, honestly, I was nervous. But yeah, anyways, we'll get to it when we get there.
Yeah.
Cross Tekken, so.
So obviously Cross Tekken got it. To be blunt, it just totally failed. The original one. It didn't do well from early on. I mean, there were PR issues involved in that with the whole DLC being on the disc thing. There were gameplay issues that people didn't like or didn't want to spend the time to figure out how to appreciate.
Pay to win concepts with gems.
Exactly.
Some of those gems were ridiculous.
Yes, they were. And then the fact that other good games came out at about the same time, or were adopted, one of the two depending on the game. So. The original one didn't really get that much of a chance. It was 2v2 at Evo, and the top 4 was the only thing shown on stream, and it was horrible. Infiltration and Laugh just ruined everybody. Opened up with a double perfect, like, on Combo Fiend, so... but that said, I think that people saw it in a little bit better light with the Street Fighter 25th Anniversary series. It obviously... didn't pull the numbers in viewers or entrants that the other games did, but I felt like that went a little bit of the way, at least, toward rehabilitating it. And now that there's a new version coming out, I know a lot of people who won't give the game a chance, but at the same time, I know a lot of people who will give the game another look. So
I mean,
we'll see.
Honestly, so two things, right? One, at the 25th anniversary tournament, Seth, LOL,
yeah,
like I enjoyed watching him play.
Okay.
Because he was the only guy that I felt like was actually playing Cross Tekken, using the gems with a distinct strategy, etc. Everyone else was like, oh, meter gem, defense gem, I'm good. Like Seth, LOL, I felt like he was the only guy really playing it there. And then two, God, I forgot my second point that I wanted to mention now.
No problem.
Yeah.
We'll just ramble. It's what we do anyway. You want me to fill some time? Because I can do it.
Just keep talking. I totally forgot my second point here.
Okay, so 2013 is going to have all these differences,
yes.
right? So I think that people will pick it up. That said, I do think that part of the reason that they included this game was that they felt like there weren't going to be 2,000 people entering it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm looking for 1,500-ish people to enter AE and Marvel,
right.
Tekken Tag. I'm not even sure. 1,000 people, close to 1,000 people.
Hopefully. Yeah.
I mean, something like that. Final round's probably going to get a few hundred itself, so it's probably going to be something like that. MK9 has been pretty steady at getting several hundred, and Cross Tekken, I just don't think it's going to get past 1,000. I think it'll be somewhere around where MK is, because it's become a very niche game. Even though I know people will give it a chance again, it has this reputation, and it's not going to entirely change, that it's a niche game. So that's why I think they were comfortable with putting in MK and Cross Tekken, because I think that they're expecting that in total, it's not going to amount to, what one of the Street Fighter 4/Marvels is going to bring in.
You actually reminded me exactly what I wanted to say, was that
nice.
This is a very popular game with top players.
That's true.
This is a very popular... Like, as soon as the game was announced, if you were following Justin on Twitter, he was just like, I'm so happy right now. He was so happy. So, yeah, this game definitely skews more towards the top players.
It's true.
Because, honestly, one of the arguments from most of the top players is the better player is going to win. The stronger player is going to win. There's very little random factor. And, at IPL, I got a chance to play a little bit of 2. The game is far more footsies heavy. It's so much more just like, it's like gimmick free. Like, the game is literally reaching a point where it's gimmick free. Even uppercut, switch cancel doesn't work anymore.
Right.
And so this game really kind of reminds me of where CVS2 kind of fell into. Like, a lot of people... The casual audience didn't enjoy watching CVS2 as much.
That's true.
Especially the more defensive teams that had Vega and Sagat on it, Blanca, right?
Yeah, lane East Coast style and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Cross Tekken's kind of falling into that niche. It's going to be, I feel like, the CVS2 of our generation, especially with these changes, because it's going to be so fundamentals based that... the top players are going to love it, and they're the ones that are going to keep playing it.
Well, I'll tell you the main reason that I like the current version is that I feel like it's the game of the games now. I feel like it's the one that requires the most consistency.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're trying to get by on craziness, it's just not going to work out. You have to have good reads. You have to have good spacing. There aren't that many ways to derp yourself out of situations.
Right.
So I think that's going to remain to a significant degree in the coming version. I do think things that, like, punishable roll will change that to some degree.
Right.
But, and probably fewer switch cancels and that kind of thing.
Like, Akuma's teleport was nerfed too.
Yeah, exactly, which I was so happy about, because I just... In all games, I hate that move. I really do.
But I mean, it's just to what you said about consistency.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of interesting because, like, Marvel to me is more like football. Like, you can play this game and then one interception, the other guy scores 7 points.
So, somebody on IRC the other day, yesterday during the college football championship, likened Marvel, or likened the college football game to Ultimate Marvel, because college football is totally crazy. And crazy stuff can happen sometimes.
So it's almost like you have to be more consistent in a Marvel game, because one mistake will be that
Marvel
much
is
more
about
damaging.
minimizing randomness. Right? Whereas I feel like in Cross Tekken, the randomness is already kind of out of the game.
Gotcha.
You don't even have to really do that. So anyway, Cross Tekken 2013 will be there. It'll be interesting to see how that game does. Next up was KOF 13.
Yeah, and that one, when they announced, I was ecstatic. My heart wanted KOF 13's return so badly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of just how amazing that event was yesterday. Last year, yesterday. It felt like yesterday, frankly. Honestly, like, people... Whenever I talk to people about Evo, 3 most hyped things were always either KOF, Marvel, or Super Turbo. Honestly, those are the 3 things that everybody says to me consistently, which was the most hype.
I think those are good calls.
And KOF easily was just, we experienced stuff during that event, that grand finals, that I don't think I've ever seen at Evo before, with the chanting and the singing and all this stuff. And dude, like, as soon as Country Pride jumps in there, like, I don't know, it's just like, it makes you feel more like Olympics, you know? It's just like all of a sudden it just gets in there.
And I don't know about you, but I was definitely adopting Mexico as my team. North America, let's go! Like, I'm going to go on continents now, right?
Yeah.
No, it's because those guys live in SoCal. That's why it's really fun.
For sure.
But yeah, obviously that was I think the best top 8, in my opinion. Yeah. Super Turbo wasn't an official tournament, so I don't know if I'm going to count that. Right. That was the best. But that's just because we're old men and we like Super Turbo. As far as the games that are official games, I felt like KOF was the best.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
It's really cool that it's coming back. I like I said, I thought it would be P4A, not KOF. The reason I thought that is just because it seems like Persona's been doing better in some majors. That was really it. And I like I said, I thought that they were going to pare down the games list. Right. But I'm stoked to have KOF back. I also posted wish lists that I really wanted to see, and I really wanted to see KOF.
Yeah. So. I mean, honestly, like, a lot of people don't realize this, and a lot of people don't think this is because most people just want to be negative about stuff. But so MK9 came back last year because it did so well the previous year. So I almost felt like in my heart KOF was a shoo-in. Okay. Because the Evo team really rewards people the communities that come out and support their games and bring the hype. MK9 was supported that way. After Melee, we did Brawl the next year, that's right. Remember? And I mean, I apologize. I'm going to go into a little story mode here. It's just one of those things that I feel like a lot of people need to kind of hear. It was the one year that Guilty Gear was the team tournament, made it to the grand finals, and there was 11 people in 4 teams because one of the teams was just 2 Japanese players instead of 3 players, right?
Sick.
And by the time the tournament started on Sunday morning, 2 of the 11 people were there to play. There was nobody there, right? And so it was really bad, and Guilty Gear community looked really bad. No one came to watch it.
Really?
The Guilty Gear community got mad at us. They're like, well, this is what happens when you put the tournament early in the morning in Vegas, right? And it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, Tekken was first one year, and they were amazing there. And so the next year, Guilty Gear didn't make Evo. And most of the Guilty Gear community was like, let's boycott Evo. Let's run our own tournament on the same weekend. And at this time, Kugi and Finest KO Spirit Juice were 2 people that I was really good friends with who were really into the Guilty Gear community. And I told them, I was like, you guys need to do the exact opposite. You need to get every Guilty Gear player to Evo, run the most amazingly organized and hype-side tournament that you can possibly do. And that is how you are going to fix this kind of situation. Okay. Not fix it by negativity, but fix it with positivity, right? They went there and ran a team tournament and a singles tournament that weekend, both of them super hype. The only thing they did wrong was they ran long because so many people entered. They had more entrants, I think, in Guilty Gear than one of the official games in the singles tournament. And what happened? Next year, Guilty Gear was back in the lineup. Okay. You know, that's... Evo rewards people who the communities that bring the hype. And so I felt like KOF was a shoo-in because I just felt like last year KOF was so amazing that, you know, you can't not bring it back, in other words. So
fair enough, man.
Sorry. Soapbox story time done. Okay.
All right, so let's take another break, actually. Sure. And when we come back, we'll finish talking about the last couple games that have been announced for Evo 2013. All right. All right, welcome back to UltraChenTV. We got the Tuesday show going on. My name is Ultra David, and we have jchensor.
Yes, or jchensor.
jchensor?
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about the Evo 2013 games announcement that happened just before we got on the air. Mm-hmm. We talked about AE 2012, Ultimate Marvel 3, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Mortal Kombat 9, Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2013, and King of Fighters 13.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh. And this is where we get into like the surprises for me, because once they reach 6 games... I mean, we ran 8 games a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Evo used to have 8 games, and it killed us.
Yeah.
It killed us. And this was with Marvel tournaments. When it reached 300 people, we were like, oh my gosh, we got 300 people! You know, and so this is really, truly a testament. Because, I mean, honestly, Evo staff, core Evo staff has been Tom, Tony, Wizard for years. And the fact that we've gotten to the point that we can run 8 games again at a scale maybe like 10 times, 5 times, 10 times larger, and it's still the same core guys. I mean, I think that's amazing.
It is.
So
I'm really interested to see how they actually pull this off. Like, what are the arrangements? How's that going to work? But I don't know. They said that they're going to announce that stuff coming in.
No sleep for the Evo staff.
For sure.
That weekend. So, but surprise 7th game. The game, when they announced that, made me breathe the sigh of relief that I've never breathed before, was Persona 4 Arena.
Yeah, I picked this game to be in there. I was really surprised that it wasn't the 4th and 5th and 6th games chosen. It was the 7th game that was listed. Not that that's any kind of indication about, like, importance of games. I think, whatever.
It's troll order.
It's for sure troll
Wizard
order.
just announced them in troll order.
For sure.
100%. So
for sure.
You know that Wizard knew that if he announced MK94, that he would get everybody going, oh my...
Oh, for sure.
How we all reacted.
For sure.
Yeah, so anyway...
Anyway, Persona 4 Arena, it's the anime game, right? Like, this is what the anime community is to some degree coming around, or coalescing around, I guess I should say. There are a couple other games out there that are or will be vying for everybody's attention, and Guilty Gear and Skullgirls and BlazBlue.
Right.
But it's P4A. I guess that's the game that people are coming around to.
Yeah, and I'm super happy. I mean, obviously, like I mentioned the little Twitter thing that I was getting into, and I was just kind of chastising the community. I just didn't feel like they were like going out enough to the weeklies and stuff, and everybody was getting on my case because they're like, well, we all showed up to NEC, there was 130 some entrants there, and the Atlas event turned out really good, that Level Up ran, and the thing to me though is just like, God, this is going to really sound... I don't know. I don't even want to make this analogy. Okay, so, I mean, it's just like you have these big things and, you make it out to these things, but honestly, the strength of a community really is kind of in being able to be consistent, right? And so I felt like going to weeklies was a huge sign of their dedication and consistency. And I know people haven't been showing up to a lot of the, like, Big 2 and to the Run Back as much. And, I was just kind of talking about it. I was like, it's on your guys' self. Like, you don't have to run... It doesn't have to be those weeklies. You can run your own weeklies. In fact, James Shea Plus, who we got to do that. He does it all the time. He runs a bi-weekly thing at Super Arcade for all 3 anime games, And so he does a great job with that. But Run Back has the most exposure. Big 2 has the most exposure. I feel like those are good opportunities to showcase your game. That's kind of what I was saying, and despite all that stuff was saying, I was rooting for Persona to get into Evo as much as any of the people who actually play it, who actually love the game. For me, I really think it's great what they did at NEC and, at the Atlas event and all these other events, how they got all these players. And I want them to be rewarded for them. I'm telling them that this is what you need to do, not because I hate you guys, but because I want you guys to win. I want you guys to succeed, and
cool.
They're at Evo now, so I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see top 8 for Persona.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry again, rambling. My bad.
That's cool. That's why people watch.
Yeah.
For rambling, because I don't know what else you're watching when you come here. That's all there is.
Fair enough.
So after that was an 8th game announced that, like we said, we thought was a troll. We didn't think it was for real at first. I agree with you. But it turns out it is. It's a player's choice. So what will happen is there's a list of games that are on shoryuken.com, if that website is up right now. It was actually down earlier. That you can see, and what you'll do is donate to, in the name of whichever game you like, to breast cancer fund.
What's the website for it? I just want to check to see what's winning right now. Is there actually a site that shows the progress?
I assume there is, because I've seen people tweet about it, but I just
whatever.
got on the show immediately after Wake Up SRK, after driving here, so I don't know. But I'm sure there is one. In any case, the games that are available were already voted on earlier in 2012 out of a bigger list. Whichever games got 500 votes or more were put into this secondary list. Now, those games include Capcom vs. SNK 2, Dead or Alive 5, Dive Kick, Guilty Gear, Injustice, Melty Blood, MLP Fighting is Magic, PlayStation All-Stars, Skullgirls, Smash Bros. Melee, and Smash Bros. Brawl. It's between those games.
How many games is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those 11 games. And if you want one of those games to win, then you donate to this breast cancer fund in the name of whatever. So.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the things that I think is getting overlooked is the fact that we're donating to this breast cancer fund. You remember last year when they announced the scholarship, how ecstatic I was about that.
For sure.
I think this is just as cool, frankly. You know, I mean, you have to do something like this because there's so many ways for voter fraud. So if you force people to have to donate money and stuff like that, you know, it's harder to do that kind of thing. But I think it's fantastic that we're donating to a charity like this, you know.
So all the money that you donate is just donated. It's gone. But what will happen is that for each game, the total number of donations, total dollar amount will be tallied. And whichever game has the highest dollar amount will be the winner. So if some magical person comes along and gives $1 million to Dive Kick or whatever, Skullgirls, then that'll be the game, presumably, that will win, unless some other person comes along and gives $2 million, right? So, like, that's how it will go.
Someone try to convince Mark Cuban which game, you know?
Yeah, well, I like on the Wake Up SRK broadcast, they were talking about how Havad Khan could be, you know.
Marvel. Oh, but Marvel 2's not on the list.
Marvel 2 is not on the list.
Marvel 2 did not make the list.
It had its chance, because it was among those games that you could have voted for originally. I think part of the issue in this is that people didn't think that poll was for real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
like people just didn't believe that would amount to anything, so they didn't bother. Maybe results would have been a little bit different. If so, probably not super different. Like maybe Marvel 2 would have been in there, maybe Super Turbo would have been in there. Probably not that many more games.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a fine list. I don't need ST at Evo 2 years in a row anymore. I mean, it was cool last year, but it is going to be between those games. So, if you had to guess, which games would you think would be top 2 or 3?
Well, as we kept talking, my mind was kind of working in there a little bit.
Okay.
Like, I don't have a particular order.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, my first initial pick was Melee.
Okay.
Because it won a lot of the polls.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's a lot of support out there for it. And you know what? The thing about it is, I feel like a lot of the fighting game fans are going to get split between these games. There's going to be a lot of players like, I'm going to put my money into Capcom SNK 2. I really want Dead or Alive, but the Smash community is the Smash community. They're unified, and I think that they could all go together for that. And I think it would be awesome if Melee came back, to be honest with you.
I totally agree. I mean, you and I both played that game. We liked it.
Yeah.
Maybe not with the rules that they're likely to play.
Yeah.
But like we do like the game.
Yeah.
So that I would love to see that.
And I don't know. What was your first pick that you felt like I was going to get in there?
At first, before I really thought about this, I said Capcom versus SNK 2. And the reason I said that is that I feel like that's an old man's game, and that I just felt like there's probably more expendable money among older people. So I don't know. I felt like they had the cash to make it happen, because that's ultimately what this is about. Again, if you have one donor that's like, Injustice isn't getting any votes, here's $3 million.
Right.
That's not going to happen. But, I mean, that's how it is. It's about the money. So that's what I thought at first. But then we started thinking about this a little bit more.
Yes.
And I think MLP Fighting is Magic is just going to run away with this.
This is my number 2 pick.
It's going to run away with it. It's over.
Yeah. And, we were just talking, the My Little Pony community out there is rabid. I mean, it's I don't know how this happened. Like, I feel like, I don't know, this community is just crazy, and they are, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to NeoGAF, I swear, like 50% of the avatars are My Little Pony, right? And so, honestly, dude, it's gonna run away. I think it's gonna do it.
So I don't know if people have seen it, but apparently somebody donated $500,000 already to MLP Fighting is Magic. Now it turns out that was real, is what I heard. But that person doesn't have that amount of money
on the credit card.
The credit limit is much lower. But here's what that says. That says that somebody is willing to bust their credit limit, which hurts your credit rating.
Right.
In order to have this game get a chance in. Because that $500,000 is not going.
Everyone keeps saying that it was fake. Everyone says it's fake.
I heard it was real. I don't know either way.
Right.
I mean, from all I've heard about people who like this game, they're willing to spend dough. Like, dude, Kelly was sitting over here earlier talking about how she went to some convention,
and
how people were just like taking whatever total crap, not even cool stuff.
And like spending $40 on
all my money,
bad caps, yeah,
on like crappy hats. She said. She said that she there was some kid there who like bought a ton of stuff, and he was like, "Man, my mom only gave me $300 to spend."
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Right, dude. RT Buster has the best comment I think so far. Is like, our community's already really used to horse heads, so if we get MLP Fighting is Magic on there, I think we're gonna, dude. There's gonna be a wave of horse heads. I think.
It's going to be multicolored horse heads, for sure.
And you know what? Like, I demand it right now. If that game makes it and we play it on the big screen, we've got to just be like pumping Gangnam Style the entire time so everyone can do horse dances. And,
man, that sounds like a great time.
Let's just get all of the internet memes all at once. Gangnam Style, My Little Pony, horse heads. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's make it the craziest, like, most, like, offensively awesome thing ever.
Seriously, I think that game's going to win. I think it's going to be MLP.
Yeah.
And I mean, that'll be cool. Like, I've heard the game is good.
Right.
I've heard from people who had advanced, like, it's not done, but early copies of the game, that it actually is like pretty legit, and they're taking the time to like really put in cool mechanics and trying to balance the game.
It's like wall bounces and ground bounces.
Yep, it has like a real combo engine.
Yeah.
It's not a joke game, even if that's how it started out. It's an actual game, so that'd be fine. If with me, if that came in, it would get, in addition to that, probably a pretty sizable number of people who to enter who would not otherwise.
Yeah.
I feel like if CVS 2 was in there, dude, everybody who wants to play CVS 2 is already going to Evo. Like 90% of people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But with games like MLP, especially MLP, that's going to bring in a whole new set of people. Melee will too, to a large degree. Right. Although Melee players have started to play other stuff too now, finally. But that scene is much more separate from the fighting game community. So,
and I'm going to spare everybody because right now the puns are flowing in my head. And I'm just not going to do it.
Really?
I'm not going to do it.
Is this your New Year's resolution?
No. It's just they're so bad. They're so bad that I don't even know if I can do this.
All right, man. It's up to you.
All right, so
you don't have to do it. I'm not trying to make you do it.
Dude, everyone's saying, "Say it, please do it."
All right, let me just go for it. I'll busy myself with something else.
Okay. I was about to say, MLP, we e-horse now.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Anyways, so what's
I got a tweet, or we got a tweet, that Vampire Savior is also one of the games eligible.
Oh, really?
So the way I got the list of games was the site was down when I tried to look at it, and it was just posted in IRC. So Trag, apparently it's your fault. It's apparently Tragic's fault because he's the one who gave me the list of games.
Oh, okay.
So if Vampire Savior's on there too, I apologize.
Dude,
that game would be rad.
Okay, that's my heart winner. That's
game.
My heart winner right there. I would, because honestly, I talk to the Vampire Savior community every once in a while, and honestly, like, those guys put in the work for their community.
They do a good job.
Of stuff, and they play a lot on GGPO. And
there is a weekly stream that you can watch on twitch.tv/Rotanibor. and it's Vampire Savior.
Yeah,
there's like a weekly tournament,
that's
so
awesome.
that's actually pretty sick. Yeah, that team does a good job.
Okay, well, so I said what my first two picks are. What's your second pick?
My second, I probably have the same games. Honestly, I feel like it's MLP then Melee are probably my two. The two I expect. I would let me tell you what I want to see. I wanted to see Skullgirls in the main lineup anyway. I knew it wasn't going to happen. That's what I wanted to see. So I'd love to see that game get in. I also want to see Dive Kick a lot. To be personal, I mean, I'm totally honest. Like,
no.
I really loved the game when we got to play it early on. I know they're developing it, and I'm sure there's going to be some craziness in it. And it, I want to see. Keith said on Wake Up Hustle Arcade that he's going to try to put out a video soon of what it is now. And I really want to see that. So
I mean, to be honest with you, we joke and make a lot of like dorky comments and stuff like that. But honestly, like people have walked up to me and I tell them Dive Kick is amazing, and they're like, "Are you just trolling?" Or
I get that too.
And seriously, like you play that game. We want to talk about a game where there's no luck factor.
Right.
This game, I mean, the reason why you get so salty when you play this game is because you know you got outplayed when you beat.
You just got outthought.
Yeah. Because
I mean, well, reactions play a role.
Yeah, for sure.
A pretty big role,
for sure.
It's those two things. It's like, do you understand the strategy and do you have the reactions?
But the reaction is a lot of anticipation too.
Totally.
Right? And honestly, like I'm not trolling at all. Like the level of strategy and skill in this game was way off the charts than anything I was expecting when I played it.
I can tell you that I had a bunch of chances to play the game. I played it at UFGT, I played it at CEO, I played it at Evo, I played it in Keats's room, a lot too, when it wasn't actually at the places.
Right.
I got a lot of time in the game, and I saw people get better at it. It's not like you walk in and that's the final strategy. There are all these evolutions in the strategy, just like any fighting game.
Well, don't you remember when I first played it? I was just like, Kung Pao was just ass. She's horrible. She's
I thought the same
so
thing.
bad. And then by the end of the night, I was winning with her because I finally understood what her strategy was.
And actually, I Keats was talking just a couple of days ago on IRC, and he mentioned what he thought the tiers were ultimately in that version of the game, and he thought that Kung Pao was probably top 3.
Really?
So whereas we thought Dive was the best early on, he was like, no, it was probably Kick, and it was probably like Kung Fu. So anyway, that's what I want to see. Again, I expect it to be MLP or Melee.
Well, what do you think is likely going to be third?
Third place. That's a good question. I feel like those two run away with it, and then I'm just not sure because I know Guilty Gear has a lot of people who like it. I know CVS2 has a big fan base. I know Injustice will. I really couldn't tell you.
Honestly, the more I thought about it, I don't know if we're going to have a way to prevent this. And so I actually feel like maybe this is something the Evo staff needs to think about. Is that I feel like Warner Brothers and Sony has more money than anybody.
Yeah.
So I feel like right now the running is probably between Injustice and PlayStation All-Stars.
Okay.
But
I can see that.
That's kind of unfair, though, right? To have the corporation that made the game back it like that.
Corporations not people? Is that what you're willing to say right now? Are you willing, James Chen, to throw out well over 100 years of established American jurisprudence?
My point is that the corporations have a much easier time obtaining funds to put into it as a group of people.
Oh, I see.
Because they have coordination already established.
Hey, if that's the case, why don't we just bar them from funding our elections? It seems like they might be able to take them over too. James, I don't like your line of thought, James. I don't like your line of thought.
Peace.
I don't like your line of thought.
Oh, no, I just got completely...
Yo, did you hear random lawyer side? Did you hear that this dude in California got pulled over in the express lane because he's the only human in his car, but he did have corporate incorporation papers in his car. Corporation is a person, even under... Yes. So he is now suing, saying that I had 2 people in my car. Anyway.
That's fantastic.
Anyway. Yeah, so those are the games. No, he'll probably lose, honestly, but it's going to be through some shenanigans because he has the legal... in my opinion, he has the legal upper hand, but some judge is going to be like, he's gonna make a difference between corporations or between people that have like corporeal bodies and whatever. And so it's gonna be some BS.
Honestly, I think if there's no way to, because it's going to be hard, right? Because I mean, anybody can create a WePay account and just say, "Hi, I'm donating $50,000," and what are you going to do? Can you like claim or can you challenge them or whatever like that? But so I feel like some of the games with the bigger backing and that would be Sony and Warner Brothers. So I feel like those two games have a really good shot.
I think that makes total sense. Yeah, I do. I definitely wouldn't expect that Nintendo would back Melee or Brawl. That's not going to happen.
I don't feel like a lot of the other companies are going to back.
No, certainly Capcom's not back. Well, I don't know. Maybe Dead or Alive gets some backing. I'm not sure, but. So the final games list for Evo 2013 are Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition 2012, or it seemed like maybe there's implication in maybe 2013. Was hard to tell.
Yeah.
And he walked it back immediately after.
Did he? I missed it. I didn't hear it.
He definitely started to be like, if it gets released, like that kind of thing. So anyway, Street Fighter 4, then Ultimate Marvel 3, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Mortal Kombat 9, Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2013, King of Fighters 13, Persona 4 Arena, and then Player's Choice, which is between CVS 2, Dead or Alive, Dive Kick, Guilty Gear, Injustice, Melty Blood, MLP, PlayStation All-Stars, Skullgirls, Melee, and Brawl.
Yeah. Can I just honestly say that after the lineup was announced, I felt like I was just going to come on the show and just be like, perfect.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say. Because honestly, I think this is probably the greatest lineup for Evo in recent memory. Like, I'm so excited for this year.
I think that's pretty fair.
We have a representative from all of the chunks of communities within the fighting games. You know what I mean? A lot of them, in any case.
No, totally. I mean, there's the traditionalists in the Street Fighters. Mm-hmm. There's the versus. There's the Marvel people. Right. There's the 3D game in Tekken. There's the anime players.
And
there's
even the top player favorite game, Cross Tekken.
Right? King of Fighters, which was just a huge blast. Everybody likes that game.
Mortal Kombat, I don't know.
Yeah, and NNK, which is certainly its own scene and has done really well with it. So I feel like they did a way better job at satisfying everybody than I thought that they literally had the capability to.
Yeah, and to be, it's every year we always have to disappoint somebody, and so I was just like freaking out on who would be disappointed this year, and the fact that they came and did this, I think it's fantastic. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
On Twitter, I think this is really funny. Just IB Spiffy says, what happens is that MLP will win, but then the game doesn't get released due to copyright issues. Very possible, because it's not being made by whoever makes MLP. It's being made by some fans. Well, I can totally see that.
Hasbro apparently has already talked to them.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think they've been in contact, and Hasbro says that's fine. Do whatever you want as long as you don't make any money off of it.
Okay.
So I mean, let's put it this way: if an MLP fighting game makes it into Evo, dude, that's only going to help awareness for MLP.
Yeah, Hasbro would be really stupid to not do stuff like that.
So.
All right, let's take one more break. There were other announcements that we should get to, including Road to Evo and stuff like that. So we got one more break, and we'll be back to finish it. Okay, welcome back to UltraChenTV on our Tuesday show. So we talked all about the Evo Games lineup for Evo 2013 in July. I thought it was... I was wondering how they would have the finals day. With this many games, exactly. With 8 games, how would they fit them all, especially when last year we ran overtime with...
KOF ran 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, we ran overtime with fewer games than this. So Wizard did address that on Wake Up SRK, and what he said was that 3 of the games will be played before Sunday, which is the finals day, and that only 5 games would be on the finals day. So I think that's smart because, they are... He kind of described it as being an undercard, which I think is a pretty good analogy. With this undercard, you get games in there. People can play games officially that they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So that's great. Do that. But then at the same time, on Sunday, you have fewer games than last. You have 5 games rather than 6.
Right.
So that way you can guarantee that you get the full top 8 of everything, and that it's less likely that you'll run over the time limit. He didn't mention which games would be in which spots. I mean, we can guess that those 3 locks that we said we're guaranteed will be there.
Yeah.
Which Tekken Tag and Marvel and Street Fighter.
Right.
Those I'm sure will be in there. Which 3 will get before Sunday? I don't know. He said that it's about player interest. That is to say how many people attend each one, how the games are doing when they're at the road to Evo events, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So honestly, dude, I have talked about this a lot. One of the things that I have gotten tired of in the fighting game community is hearing everybody say, we're dedicated to our community, blah, blah, blah. But, it's action time. It is action time. We have 4 Road to Evo events, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. Get your community out there, I mean, just go. Like, make sure you make it to these events. Show what your community can do. And honestly, I honestly believe the community has 90% of the power for the popularity of the game. You can have someone... I mean, look at what L.A. Akira did for Virtua Fighter at Wednesday Night Fights. He did everything he could for that game, and the community did not show up, right? Is that his fault? Not even. He did everything he could to get people to go out there, right? So I feel like the community has way more power than a lot of people think. And now we have the Road to Evo, and everyone's going to be paying attention to these events. Go to these events.
Right.
Watch these events. Hype them up as much as you can.
Right. Again, because even if your game is officially in, everybody wants their games to be on finals day. Yeah. I would think, and that's not. That's good for the viewers. That's good for the people who play too, because then you get an additional day if you're in that top 8 to kind of figure out what your strategies are going to be. You think about it more. I mean, it's a better thing in general, but. I still think it's cool that they are doing this undercard kind of thing so that they can get more games in there.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people on the stream, they're like, I can't get to these events.
Hey, I understand. No.
Yeah, honestly, then just make sure you're watching during these times. Keep the viewership count high, Talk to your friends on the forums or whatever like that,
Yeah. I mean, look, I totally understand. I've wanted to go to Wednesday Night Fights each time since PlayStation All-Stars has been there, because I like that game a lot.
Right.
Unfortunately, work has just come up. I was at the office until 10 p.m. last Wednesday.
Dude, honestly...
I mean, that's what happened. So, I understand if there are problems, but as you said, support however much you can.
Yeah, honestly, no lie, we know we've kind of dropped the ball in December for trying to get to Wednesday Night Fights and run back a little bit, It's far. I mean, literally, I went last week I went to the run back. It took me 2 hours to get there, and, That gets you tired after a while.
It does.
So yeah.
It does. So you mentioned the Road to Evo events. There are only 4 that have been announced, and those 4 are SoCal Regionals, which is just in a couple of weeks. It's January 18th to 20th in Irvine, actually, in Southern California. Then NorCal Regionals, which is I don't know. It's been in San Francisco. It was in San Francisco last year. I assume it'll be there again, or somewhere in the Bay Area anyway. That's April 26th, 28th is what they. I don't know. I got that online.
I think they might still be.
You know what? You know what? Actually, what happened was Terry put out a tweet. Kaneda, who's running the event, put out a tweet saying that they haven't finalized the dates, but that it'll be in late April. And then I saw somebody else put out that they think it's going to be the 26th to 28th.
Right,
so
right.
Anyway, that's what it's looking like.
It was at Davis last year, wasn't it? UC Davis?
No, it was at San Francisco State.
Oh, San Francisco State. Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So then the next one is Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament in Chicago, May 24th to 26th. And the last one is CEO 2013, which is in Orlando, Florida, and that's June 28th to 30th.
Yeah. I actually think that's a really cool set of 4 tournaments because, I mean, outside of NorCal, SoCal, both being in California, don't get us wrong, they're 6 hours apart, right? So it's a little further than people think.
It takes 9 hours to drive there from San Diego in some places. So
yeah,
it's like same state, but it's like the distance between San Diego and Oregon, the state above us, is like going from Atlanta to Boston. So it's like it's a pretty big state. But anyway, I mean, I understand why people are a little bit upset about it because California is getting 2, and the whole East Coast is getting 1 in CEO, and it's at the absolute base of the Eastern Seaboard in Florida.
How long does it take to get from New York to Chicago? Just out of curiosity. I don't know.
I've never done it, but my guess is
probably like 8 hours.
Something like that, probably. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not really sure. But only 4 are announced. I was surprised at this to some extent because I'm really surprised actually that Final Round is not one of those.
Yeah.
Final Round it has been almost like the mini Evo of the Southeast, because I know there are lots of people who go to Final Round and can't really make it out to another tournament per year. Like, they have one tournament that they can make it to for financial or other considerations, and it's Final Round.
A lot of people are saying about like 14 hours.
14 hours,
yeah,
okay. Cool. So. I mean, so it's a long ways. Mm-hmm. It would be nice if they could have, if there could be more tournaments on the East Coast. If you had maybe in Florida, and then maybe not Georgia right on top of it, but maybe you put in Philadelphia or something like that. I mean there are
right ECT
ECT even farther north. It would be nice if there were some credible Texas major that it could be at.
Right.
It's not really around. I mean I understand people want to spread it out more geographically. I will say that this is actually a little bit of an unusual position for people on the West Coast, because in the last couple years of Road to Evo, we've been a little bit screwed. It's basically just been SoCal regionals and NorCal regionals.
Right.
And so we've had to travel to whatever else had it, right? All over the Midwest, all over Ohio, all over even in Tennessee, all over the East Coast. And now things are the other way around. So, I mean, I think it's too bad. It'd be nice if they were more geographically separated, but, I mean, oh well, I guess. Yeah. I'd like to know why, for example, Final Round wasn't there, but I don't know.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it's technically done yet. I mean, Wizard said that, well, for foreign tournaments, that there might be some possibility. So, obviously, they're not technically done yet. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll add some more U.S. tournaments or something like that. Or maybe even, like, pick Toronto, for example.
Right, yeah.
Or something like that, right? I don't know. But
yeah, you're right. They Wizard didn't... He didn't straight up say that there would be international Road to Evos, but he did I think he actually said the phrase Road to Evo International at one point.
Right.
So that implies that there will be some tournaments. Okay. And maybe you're looking at like Shadowloo Showdown, maybe you're looking at like the Southeast Asia tournament, something like that. Maybe you're looking at like Stunfest.
Dude, we saw what Brazil did for the 25th anniversary tournament. That was super hype, so it'd be cool to have like a Brazil tournament.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I guess that'll all be figured out over the coming months. So, also, if you did the fantasy bracket thing for the Street Fighter 25th anniversary, Wizard also said that they're going to try to get that ready before SoCal Regionals. So hopefully that'll be back for SoCal Regionals, and we'll be back for all the majors after that. Right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, man, there was this awesome fantasy bracket that you could arrange, because in the 25th. Finals, all of those players were already out. We knew what the matchups were going to be, so you could have it. The way it would work, presumably, for SCR is that you would create that bracket finals day morning or the night before, one of those two. Yeah. So it would work like that, but, I guess we'll see. Hopefully that'll be ready. I really had a blast doing that, even though I was totally off on everything.
Dude, I dropped the ball. I did not get my bracket filled out. I was mad.
That's right. Well... I guess that's about it.
Yeah. Again, this is obviously the first episode of Ultra Chen here in 2013. Hope everyone had a great holiday season.
Yeah.
I hope people have been enjoying the 720p plus option here now, because I'm streaming at a higher quality. But we're going to be starting again next week, and hopefully on Tuesday we can talk a little bit also about like what went on in 2012 and stuff like that. Because 2012 was a huge year, and there's a lot to talk about. So
for sure, yeah. But we will be getting back to the normal programming schedule. I'll have this video up on YouTube before then, so if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you check out this coming week. Monday we do First Attack James runs First Attack, which is more for the beginner side of things. And then after that, I do Level 3 Focus, which is more for the intermediate and advanced side of things.
And, since this is the start of a new season, I might dial it back a little bit and repeat a lot of stuff that I did before.
Okay.
And try to focus back on the beginners again. Because I started kind of veering off course with like a lot of the complex option selects and stuff like that. So if anybody has any ideas for like fundamentals, like very basic things that they want to understand about fighting games, tweet us at UltraChenTV, or if it's a long message, email us at ultrachentv@gmail.com.
That is correct. And we will be getting additional contact messages or contact methods and ways of reaching out in the coming weeks. We're finalizing a couple of things, and then we'll have a little bit better way to talk with people. Yeah. But in the meantime, Monday we do those 2 shows. Tuesday night is always something different. Sometimes it's this kind of thing where we just kind of shoot the bull. Sometimes we will analyze videos. Sometimes we'll talk about history even.
Go over a new game.
All sorts of stuff. So make sure you tune in. But as for now, thanks for tuning in. I hope you had a great Evo announcement day. It seems like it's such an event now, right? Like
cool.
It was a hype day. It was awesome.
I love it.
All right, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
All right, peace out, everybody.